say hello to all of you and thank you for joining. So this presentation is with my colleagues John Hyland, Anita Naughton and Richard Lynch. We're all based in Teagasc's Rural Economy Development Programme. It's a programme involving social scientists. And it's just important to say from the outset, we're going to share our experiences, and they are learner experiences. We are social scientists. We are not experts in any of the tools that we'll be running through today. And I think you'll actually be able to tell that we're learners, and we're still learning how to use these tools. Some of them have many functions and very useful functions, we think, we hope, and we're still continuing to learn. So we present the insights that we share with you today, and what they are really are social scientists considering how they're going to move their co-design work online. And co-design work involves facilitation, highly interactive participatory facilitation. So many of the projects that we are working on, Richard, Anita, John are working full-time on multi-actor Horizon 2020 projects. And there's a particular rule underpinning such projects. And these projects involve both stakeholders who are consulted at various stages along the project by phone or whatever means is used, but also they are multi-actor. And that means that very many diverse different types of actors should be actively involved all along the project. So we must maintain that involvement and that interaction despite not being able to meet people face to face. So it's not just, the multi-actor rule means that we must go beyond consulting with people and instead work in genuine partnership with people. We are moving away from the bottom of this diagram here, where we add different perspectives to each other or layer them on each other. We need to synthesize knowledge, different types of knowledges, practitioners' knowledges, different disciplinary knowledges, and we need to creatively combine them so that what we achieve is far greater than the sum of the parts. So in that top level there is that form of interaction that we must maintain in our projects, despite not being able to see people face to face. So this is an image that shows true transdisciplinarity, different types of knowledge coming from different groups in society being combined and built together in a creative way. And the people all involved there are involved in this, and they're co-designing. That's what that image is supposed to portray. And we can't abandon that multi-actor co-creation because simply the traditional methods where we try. So do you mind muting the microphone because there's some disturbance on the line, please? Thank you very much. Anyone who's not speaking, you can mute your microphone, but if you wish, you can interrupt me and ask me a question, no problem. So the traditional approaches where disciplinary knowledge was applied to a problem, that hasn't worked, and that's why we need to move to this co-innovation approach in responding to more complex problems, but also in developing new and exciting innovations and opportunities. So business, the old form of doing business, still won't do, despite many of us being in lockdown. So we have lots of tools that we have used in these various projects here, Horizon 2020, to really engage very thoroughly and meaningfully in the multi-actor approach, to actively support how people collaborate with each other, share their knowledge, and so on. And these are the 5 scenarios. I'm sure there are other scenarios, but these are 6 main scenarios. That should be 6. We added one recently in multi-actor work. So many of these tools could conceivably be used online. but it means transferring or translating particular things, dimensions of them, in order for them to work online. So we are challenged with how do we, some of the tools that are contained. This is a toolbox. If I had the PDF version, I could click in here and get into tools, access the tools. But the question is, how do we translate this online? Well, there are two main challenges. The first is we use certain materials in participatory work. They're very simple materials because they must be. Everybody must be comfortable using them, such as sticky notes or post-its. In Ireland, we tend to call them post-its, and markers where people might just write 1 or 2 words. That is the only thing they must do. People generally find that quite comfortable. They don't have to write a long essay or email. They don't have to use a lot of technology. The use of post-its, flip chart paper, drawing, markers, things like even the ability to cut and paste, to sort, to move these around. These materials are very important, and their simplicity must be maintained. So that's the material challenge. Then there's the process challenge. And this is a depiction of all the various actors that were involved in the Cherare Horizon 2020 project, and how the strategies that you see, the linkages and the positioning of the different actors involved and how they collaborated together. So we also need to maintain that collaboration and interaction in how we move online. So there are the two aspects there. We need to try and maintain the simplicity of the materials we use, their user friendliness, and we also really need to encourage online very meaningful collaborations and interactions and knowledge sharing and co-design. So that there are challenges. So how do we do that? How do we move the materials and the process? And for us, there are fancy technologies that look very well, that can be actually quite intimidating for some, for us, certainly for me, and they can be very attractive and maybe, and on the other hand, very easy to use, but really it doesn't matter because we still have to keep to our brief, and we need online tools that are fit for purpose in terms of the materials we need and the process, the highly participatory relational process that we need to support. There can be very nice apps and tools that we've seen, but I'm just presenting these two slides as a caveat or a warning. We can find lots of very effective tools online, but if we don't maintain the principles of good co-design and participatory interventions, they will be no good. So everything we've learned about from social science and from the whole literature on participatory development, those principles also have to transfer online, and there is no software or app that can substitute for that. So basically these slides, these two citations here, one from the FAO and one from Groot, is to suggest, we must maintain those principles in how we conduct ourselves online and how we facilitate the process online as facilitators, which we are in our projects. Online, and I'm just using this terminology, which may not be consistent with the lexicon of technology, because I don't really know very much at all about technology. But from what I have seen, I have distinguished between platforms and tools, purely for my purposes. Platforms I see as virtual rooms where we can meet, where we certainly have to hear each other, we may need to see each other, and also that we can tacitly engage with, that we can use to interact with each other. And then there are the tools, and these are the tools that we can use in the virtual rooms. So I was looking for platforms and tools, as was Richard, Anita, and John over the past 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So 2 requirements, as I said, we need to hear each other, on occasion see each other, and the tools must be interactive so we can interact with each other. Now, there are lots of different audio-visual apps that allow us to meet with each other virtually, and these are some of the most common ones. we're not going to focus on those today because I think people know about them or can know about them. There's all different aspects of them, in relation to access. How do you access them? Is there a cost? Must one have a license? How agile are they in, for instance, accommodating small group work, breakout sessions? And Richard, you put this slide together. It's very helpful. Thank you. Would you mind just saying a comment about the breakout rooms specifically, please, Richard, if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So just in terms of breakout rooms, I suppose they're useful in terms of if you're holding a conference call with a number of attendees and you wish to ask attendees to brainstorm, we'll say, in separate rooms or have separate sessions. So in simplistic terms, I suppose you segregate the participants of a particular conference call into separate rooms, and you as the coordinator or the host of the meeting can jump in and out of these rooms and can monitor the conversation. You can also record the conversation from these rooms. And you can also set a timer in software such as Zoom. You can set a timer where you can allocate, say, a 10-minute brainstorming session. And at the end of that timer, all attendees return back to the main conference call. So it's useful in those terms. And just in terms of the Zoom, if you are using Zoom for breakout rooms, the point at which you choose this option is when you invite people to the meeting. So you develop your invitation. So you need to click on a setting at this point that allows you to select breakout rooms during your conference call.
Thanks, Richard. That's excellent. So it's wonderful to have that facility that you can keep the call going, the Zoom call going, and allow, and at the same time, at whatever point in the meeting, you can say, okay, we want to break out into smaller groups and then report back to each other. And you can actually do that seamlessly in Zoom and Microsoft Teams. And, by the way, we're not professional reviewers of technology. We're learners. These are learner perspectives and what we've found. And we don't know anything really technical. Well, we've an idea about licensing, but we can't answer questions about costs or anything. We don't have accurate information, just to mention that. Thank you. And some of these conditions can change. So there was a 40-minute max limit on Zoom calls, which has been lifted. Another app, Klaxoon, has increased its 1-month trial to a 3-month trial. So things are changing. So, this is all to be updated as well as needed. So in addition to them actually having the facility to meet with each other virtually, hear each other, see each other, break out into rooms, we need to be able to interact with each other. And to do that, to go beyond having a conversation, which we know is not sufficient when it comes to co-design, simply having conversations with people, we need ways of stimulating knowledge exchange and ways of recording knowledge exchange, to evolve ideas, to evaluate periodically, and so on. So we can't go into actually what co-design is, because that's not the topic of this presentation. It's rather how to move it online. So we're going to run through some apps, or software, whatever it might be, software apps. I don't quite know the difference, to tell you the truth. That we have found particularly useful, easy to use, and suitable for doing what we want to do in terms of the materials and the processes we want to use. So, this is our experience, whether we needed a subscription. Obviously, we haven't paid for any software yet, so we needed to be able to use items that were either on free trial or free altogether, free of charge.